Hello, and welcome to another Friday Night Scary Stories. Tonight's story is a true story that was told to Jezebel.com by Mrs. Lee Brown. If you have a story plot you would like to share with me, or if you have your own spooky true story, please comment down below or get me on Messenger. And without further ado, let's get into tonight's story, The Crematorium. Mrs. Brown used to work as a secretary at a funeral home. People always imagine that job is eerie, but after a few months, the strange becomes routine. The scent of carnations and old carpet, the faint hum of the refrigeration units, and the soft lamps glowing at either end of an open casket. You start to move through it like it's just another office. Most evenings, I was the last one out. I'd walk to the viewing room alone, turning off each lamp one by one until the warm pools of light disappeared and the faces in the framed portraits melted back into the dark. I never let myself look too closely at the casket on those nights. I didn't want to see anything I might mistake for movement in the dim. The embalming was done at a different location, but the crematory, that was in our building. A narrow back room with concrete floors that was always just a few degrees too warm. The directors had a practiced routine: transfer the body from the gurney to the stainless steel board, guide it along the rollers, slide it into the chamber. Then came the deep, metallic clang of the door shutting, followed by the low growl of the burners coming to life. After the initial ignition, it usually ran steadily and quietly for 3 to 4 hours. Usually. One afternoon, my coworker and I were sitting in the front office answering emails and trying to ignore the faint heat radiating down the hallway from the running cremator. The building felt unusually still. No clients, no appointments, no deliveries. Just us and the man that was in the oven behind us. We were in mid-conversation when the silence shattered. Bang! We both jumped and froze, our eyes wide. I tried to laugh it off as a pipe expanding, but the sound had been too sharp, too violent. Then it came again. Bang! The second bang was louder. It rattled the pens in the cup on my desk. Something metallic groaned afterward, like a strained exhale. My coworker said, "That's not normal, right?" No, it's not normal. We walked down the hallway towards the crematorium. The lights flickered once, just once, and stayed on, but that single flicker made the corridor feel longer, like the walls were stretching away from us. The air grew hotter with every step. When we reached the crematory door, it was darker than expected, not unlit, just dim, as if the light bulbs were tired. The cremation chamber thundered. Inside, a deep, angry roar that vibrated through the floor. I hesitated. The heat radiating from the steel door felt like opening an oven too fast. Maybe something fell inside, my coworker whispered. Bodies don't fall once they're settled. Not like that. But I didn't say anything to her. Instead, I stepped closer to the small, thick window in the door. The glass was fogged from the heat, but through that fog I could see it, the blaze churning, layered orange and white, flickering like a storm. Something moved inside. At first, I blamed the flames distorting my vision, but then the shape clarified. The body had rotated. Not shifted or slumped, rotated, completely turned around. The skeletal form lay facing the window now. I leaned in, squinted through the shimmer of the heat. The skull glowed orange and red like forged metal. Its jaw had dropped open, and the fire behind it made it look like it was lit from within. Smiling, the eye sockets were dark, but not empty. The shadows inside them turned, boiling like ink in water. For one awful second, I thought the head moved, not from the heat, not from collapse, but deliberately, angling and watching me. My coworker gasped behind me. "Stop looking at it," she said in a trembling voice, but I just couldn't. My mind couldn't explain what was going on. Bones don't turn themselves in a chamber sealed tight, and they don't aim their faces at the window. The flames flared suddenly, bright enough to sear my eyes, and I stumbled back. The roar of the burners deepened, almost like a growl or something trying to speak through the fire. I don't even remember leaving the room. I just remember standing back in the hallway, shaking, the heat still clinging to my skin. My coworker and I refused to go back in that room for the rest of the day, and when the cremation finished, neither of us went to inspect the remains. When the director came in, we told him what happened. He later said everything looked normal, just heat shift, he told us with a shrug. But I know what I saw. I know the way the skull faced me, as though it had waited, patient in the flames, for someone to look back. He did not go gently into that good night, and ever since, when I turn off the last lamp in the viewing room, I feel the dark watching me return. Thanks for watching another Friday night spooky campfire story. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'll leave a link for last week's story in the description below. If you like this kind of stuff, there's also a playlist of all the Friday night stories. We'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching another Friday night spooky campfire story. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'll leave a link for last week's story in the description below. If you like this kind of stuff, there's also a playlist of all the Friday night stories. We'll see you again next week.